Now there was a man in Jerusalem called Simeon, who was righteous and devout. He was waiting for the consolation of Israel, and the Holy Spirit was on him. It had been revealed to him by the Holy Spirit that he would not die before he had seen the Lord Messiah. Moved by the Spirit, he went into the temple courts when the parents brought in the child Jesus to do for him what the custom of the law required. Simeon took him in his arms and praised God, saying, "Sovereign Lord, as you promised, you may now dismiss your servant in peace. For my eyes have seen your salvation, which you have prepared in the sight of all nations, a light for revelation to the Gentiles and the glory of your people Israel." That is Luke 1 verse 25 to verse 32. Demystifying the Holy Spirit. So much. Look here. Number one, when the Holy Spirit was upon Simeon, I would like you to look at the following. This is great. That is why I told you we need the Holy Spirit. And this is the revolution of the Holy Spirit. Look here. Number one, we are saying in verse 25, he was waiting for the consolation of Israel. The Holy Spirit was on him. The Holy Spirit was on him. You get me? So when the Holy Spirit is on you, you wait on the consolation. So these are people who wait on the Lord. The Holy Spirit helps you to be patient in the Lord. And one of the greatest tests of any believer in this world is the test of patience. Number two, it had been revealed to him by the Holy Spirit. You see that? When the Holy Spirit is upon you, you walk under revelation. You don't walk by sight, you walk by revelation. Yes. Nobody could understand what this man, the old man, was doing in the temple. But he had a revelation that the priest didn't have. Number one, he was waiting on the consolation. He was patient on the Lord. Number two, the Holy Spirit had revealed to him. I think this is great. This is great. Imagine you are pursuing something that is divine, but the others are not cognizant. Others are not aware of what you are pursuing. And I think that is very lovely. Because number one, you will be learning a race of your own. And your race will be void of competition. Number three, that he would not die before he had seen the Lord's Messiah. The Lord had promised him he would not die before he had seen the Lord's Messiah. So number three, the Holy Spirit is upon you, preservation. This man could not die until, you get me, preservation of the Lord, divine preservation. Many people are walking with the perishable spirit. They are not long-term. They don't have the longevity of life. When the Holy Spirit is upon you, you don't die like Christ. That as long as he had not seen the Messiah, death could not kill him. Even if the age is past, as long as he hasn't seen the Messiah, he can't die. And if there is something that we need, and especially in this modern generation, is the preservation of God. Because death is hovering over us daily. Road accidents, suicide, homicide cases, women are being killed in B&B rooms, and all those kind of things. People are murdering each other. Death is all over and everywhere. Not like in those days. Nowadays, death has become like it is a part of life. But when the Holy Spirit is upon you, you don't die until you see the manifestation of the promises of God. Number four, let us look something else here. Okay, moved by the Spirit. Moved by the Spirit. When the Holy Spirit is upon you, he moves you. Meaning, he is the one that pushes you towards the dimension of manifestation of God. You can't move yourself. This is what we call like discernment. This is like we call like being called. So when the Holy Spirit is upon you, He guides you, He directs you, He shows you the way, He moves you. You get me? You don't depend on yourself, and the Holy Spirit can never make a mistake. Now, do you see the reason why we are making a lot of mistakes? Because we are moved by coercion, we are moved by pressure, we are moved by pressure, we are moved by compulsory principles that are on our. We are moved by demands. We are moved by desires. We are moved by greed and appetite. We are moved, but here He is moved by the Spirit. And this one is good. That people can be taking a certain kind of direction, but you're not taking that direction because you don't subscribe to that direction. But when the Holy Spirit comes upon you, He moves you towards the divinity, towards the realization of the supernatural. He went into the temple courts. He went into the temple courts, positioning. When the Holy Spirit is upon you, He positions you, where now you can have a direct contact with God. He was moved to where? To where? He went into the temple courts. When the Holy Spirit is on you, He knows how to position you. When the parents brought in the child Jesus to do for Him what the customs of the Lord required, so He was positioned where Jesus would be put. So He became the one who dedicated Christ. We call dedication, or receiving Him on the altar and that. Instead of making the mistake of taking Jesus to the high priest by name Annas or Caiaphas, He came in the hands of Simeon, who was in the Holy Spirit. Because Annas and Caiaphas, who were the high priest during that time, they were not in the line of the Holy Spirit. So the Holy Spirit positions you to connect with the divinity. Jesus is a divinity. He is a deity. You get me? And Simeon, by the Holy Spirit, he was connected. So he was positioned where he was. Many people are where God is not. Many people have gone through for God where He is not. But when the Holy Spirit is in you, He positions you. That where He tells you, operate from here, study from here, work from here, wait on me from here, you won't miss God. That's great. And He says, Simeon took Him in His arms and he praised God, saying, so the Lord, as you have promised, you may now dismiss your servant in peace. For my eyes have seen your salvation. So the Holy Spirit opens you to see the salvation of God. Now this salvation is in the physical, a baby. But everybody in that temple, they can't see who Jesus is. They are seeing Him as any other child. But Simeon can see this is a salvation, and he can also see this is the right of revelation for the Gentiles, and he can also see this is the glory of Israel. You get me? When the Holy Spirit is upon you, He enables you to see the salvation of God in form, in a form, not in knowledge, in a form. Meaning, the Holy Spirit enables Christ to appear before you. Number two, when the Holy Spirit is upon you, you are enlightened with the revelation of Christ. A right for revelation to the Gentiles. Now He is looking at the baby, but what is he seeing? He is seeing this is a right of revelation to the world, to the Gentiles. Gentiles are those who are non-Jews people. Get me? But everybody is looking at Jesus, seeing a baby. Even Joseph is seeing a baby. Even Mary is seeing a baby. But Simeon is seeing this is right of revelation. When he's looking at Jesus, he is seeing the glory of Israel. Oh, so the Israel are looking for glory, but here is a glory. How did he receive the Holy Spirit? We have been told that he was righteous and devout. For you to walk with the Holy Spirit like Simeon, you need to be a righteous man. And number two, you need to be devoted. You need devotion means wholehearted dedication, in terms of where you have offered yourself as a living sacrifice to God. He was devoted, righteous man. So if you want to walk with the Holy Spirit, become devoted.